Hey fellas, Rusty coming at you. Today we're going to take a look at a vintage style knife, and this one is the Ideal Company. It is a small one, and it's in what I kind of found this searching for, I think, equal end or cigar shaped folding knives. Maybe I found it in the vintage lineup. So, the Ideal Company was around, I want to say, from 1936 to when? 1986. Somewhere in the mid-30s to somewhere in the mid-80s. And they were makers of fine gas station knives. If Walmart had been around then, they would have been top of the line Walmart. So we'll take a closer look at that. They made a ton of what's called shell construction knives. Now, a shell construction would be a knife that sort of the bolsters and this cover and this bolster, from my understanding, are all one piece. This particular one, I want to say, is a Delrin. It's very hard, it's jigged, it's not metal with a plastic cover on it. And if you can see here, the Delrin has shrunk. And that's what will happen through the age, just time. Now, one way you can get around that is if you take this knife and you store it in your favorite Playboy. That keeps things from shrinking. So you would have had to get that before this shrunk, and you can put it in there and maybe that'll help you. So, nice half stop, fantastic spring. I got this off of eBay. I want to say $10 plus $5 for shipping. They advertised it as new old stock. But I want to show you something when I say this is top of the line Walmart. When it comes to the blade grind, one, we don't have much of a point here. Two, we only have just a flat grind right there. Not even there's no this is all primary grind. There's no secondary grind. So this is like a chisel grind. What I mean there, this is the primary grind. You'll see, and then they put an edge on right here. So you only have an edge on this one side. But we have a half stop. Boom. So very nice. Nail nicks, I would say, I wish I knew what these sold for back in the day. So that's what we're looking at here. Same thing. See, hopefully the blade on this, the finish isn't too bad. I don't know what choice of steel they would have used. I would guesstimate that it's nothing fancy as well. Not a lot of pokey out of that. And I'll look at your nail nicks and your primary blade grind. And then we have your edge. So it does feel like it doesn't have any edge here. You have to kind of come over the top before you can feel that. So we're going to do some comparison here. I'll get out another knife. We'll see if we can take a peek at the blade centering on this. Again with the handle covers. Oh, I didn't talk about the shield. Pretty decent shield. So it's kind of a fun knife. It's light, very pocketable. Depending on what they sold for brand new. Now, they would have been competing with something like this. So this is a case, what do we got here? Coke bottle knife. It's small swell center. And these were available. People were known to be carrying these on the case factory floor in the 1940s, if you look at the history on this. So they also have half stops. And unless something's changed on these knives, here's what their blade grinds would look like. So, looking at their blade grinds, I'll show you the case here. And you can see, we would call this more of a finished blade grind. Say it is a flat grind. It does come up to the top. And then we have it over here. And then we have the sharpened edge. So down here, let's take a peek here. Very nice. And there's a snap. Now it's not, actually this has a stronger spring and a nice half stop. Yeah, so it's a stronger spring. So what do we got here? Now our secondary blade. And over here on the case, we're going to access that here. Okay, not as, so again, the Ideal has stronger, but these were made in Providence, Rhode Island. And this was made in 2022. I don't have a date on my case. I'll try to show you guys a tag stamp, and I'm going to ask for anybody who knows to chime in. So, very nice springs, although they're not as strong. And let me see if I can bring that tag stamp out again. Maybe there's a way we can identify this. So if anybody knows, let me know, please. We're going to do a little cut test, and we'll see how this works. So something I do most every night is I cut a salmon jerky into bits. Take my dog out, and I'm going to go ahead and stop this, and we'll get a different angle. Okay, here we are now. And what I wanted to do is we're going to try to show you guys what happens when we're cutting. Hopefully this is coming through. And how that versus this. That was much harder. You can see it sort of tore it. Yeah, so much harder. Now granted, this is pretty much factory edge. I may have taken a strop to it, but you'll see the thinness of this blade going in. And this blade, yep, it actually gets the job done, but it doesn't do it as well. So, all right, guys. Well, try to do something. I want to try to get it on slow-mo. This is the case. This is the case. This is the Ideal. This is the Ideal. Okay, we will finish this out. Let's see what we got here. So, kind of hard to find. That's the Ideal Knife Company. Just a little jackknife. Like I said, they sold these. There's millions of these out there. They don't have a tremendous collectible value just because you can find so many. But this one, I think, is in good shape. We didn't really even look at the liners, but I was impressed with the springs and so on. It has, the liners are kind of exposed. Might be from shrinking of this Delrin. It might have came that way. And I do have, I can feel where my thumb is here, some snags. So much better fit and finish here. It has a better action to play with. It's not a stronger spring, but it's a better action to play with. So we'll finish up. Thanks for joining me.